Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming your way on today's show, really fascinating trade rumor centering around Russell Westbrook, Jerami Grant, and Talen Horton-Tucker. Talen Horton-Tucker, by the way, going into COVID-19 protocols. We're seeing a bunch of COVID problems in the NBA as well as in the NFL. That a problem for the Los Angeles Lakers right now as well. We do kick off today's show with getting into the latest on Russell Westbrook. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report reporting that the Lakers internally having discussions about trading away Russ, who I have to admit has played better basketball of late. Here's what Fisher had to say on Bleacher Report. The trio of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook simply has not blended as well as Lakers figures hoped, and Los Angeles has held internal discussions on trade scenarios for Russell Westbrook, league sources tell Bleacher Report. But moving Westbrook in the 2 years and $91 million remaining on his contract does seem unlikely. The fit with Russell Westbrook teaming up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis has always been questionable. Around LeBron and AD, you needed to maximize the offense by bringing in shooters because LeBron, AD aren't going to light the world on fire with shooters. That has never been the strength of Russell Westbrook. He is a game breaker. He is a game changer with his athleticism. He's an excellent rebounder. He's a very good passer. Sometimes his style is fascinating to watch, but it can be a reckless style as well. He is a heat-seeking missile getting to the cup. He is not what you consider to be in the modern-day NBA, a floor spacer. So the fit was always questionable with Russ in the purple and gold, although the storyline with teaming him up with the King and AD was always pretty intriguing, especially considering the fact he went to UCLA and hails from the Los Angeles area. There are two mistakes, in my opinion, that the Los Angeles Lakers had made. You go back and rewind tape back to the NBA trade deadline. I had said here on the Lakers Report, find a way to bring in Kyle Lowry. He is a good point guard fit. He brings you a bulldog defensively. He is a much better shooter than some point guards out there, like a Russell Westbrook. But instead of trading for Kyle Lowry, the Lakers elected to hang on to Talen Horton-Tucker. They're paying him $10 million a year, which is a pretty good contract. But Kyle Lowry's fit and him on this team would be a much better addition than a Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, even though Lowry's numbers are somewhat down this year. He's the ultimate team guy, and he would certainly be a bigger boost than THT. Here's the other mistake that Rob Pelinka and general manager LeBron James had made. They should have traded for Buddy Hield. I remember like it was yesterday. We were getting ready for a show here at Chat Sports, and we were preparing a show to go live right here on the channel for a deal that would send Buddy Hield from the Sacramento Kings to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for a semblance of a couple of players that probably would have included Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and maybe Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You put Buddy Hield on this team, who since coming into the league, his three-point numbers have been right up there in terms of percentages with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I think this Lakers team would be better off. Now, Russell Westbrook has improved over the last couple of weeks since what was a very weird and frustrating start to the season. It hasn't really translated in wins, though, and that's the big problem with Russ, is that I'm not sure his style is conducive to continuous winning. 19.5 points per game. He's averaging almost a triple-double this year. His numbers have been fantastic, and he's been much better of late. I have to eat the crow on that, but what I'm not eating the crow on is that I don't think Russell Westbrook plays a winning style of basketball, and I'm not sure that you can go deep into the playoffs with him as your point guard, because at the end of games in the playoffs, he comes up short because he never has a great feel for the game. So I'm interested to see where Laker Nation is at with Russ right now. I want you to grade his tenure so far as a Laker a couple months into it. A, B, C, D, or F, you be the judge on what Russ has brought the purple and gold. If you want to bring a family member a really nice gift during the holiday season with Christmas right around the corner, how about this fresh Lakers tee, which is on sale from $30 to $18 only if you use that link down below. It's chatsports.com/Lakers tee. You must plug in that link so that Fanatics knows that the Lakers report sent you, and so that deal does apply. That link going to be available in the description as well as the comment section of this video. Couple more Lakers trade rumors to get to. Let's pop over to Jerami Grant. He's been at the center of trade discussions for a little while now, even dating back to last year after he had signed that nice deal with the Detroit Pistons. Runner-up in the Most Improved Player of the Year award behind Julius Randle. And if you watched him coming out of Syracuse when he was drafted in the second round by Sam Hinkie by the Philadelphia 76ers, you would have seen at that time a high flyer who's a really good athlete, pogo sticks his legs. He's not that raw player anymore. He's a very good two-way player who's really expanded his offensive game. Shams Charania reporting on the Jerami Grant front, and it does involve your Los Angeles Lakers, saying this, quote, Jerami Grant is one of the most sought-after players in a potential trade, with the Lakers and Trailblazers among the teams pursuing the Pistons' versatile forward, sources said. Grant will miss extended time with torn ligaments in his right thumb. By the way, it's about a 6-week timetable, best case scenario, but that is not expected to impact his trade market. Dozens of teams call the Detroit front office about Grant each week, and sources said the team is open to a possible deal. So when that's coming from Shams, you really have to buy stock into that. The legitimacy of the reporting is always on point with a guy like Shams or Woj. And I talk about the development for Jerami Grant as an offensive player. Last year he was really good. This year, when he was healthy, he was putting up digits as well. 20 points per game, only shooting around 41.5% from the floor, a 33% shooter. But my goodness, he's made so many strides since he was a young and raw player. And what tells me that he is really a relied upon shooter, the free throw percentage is pretty solid at 85%. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers right now and you look at this roster and you kind of navigate the landscape of the NBA, ask yourself this question. Does Jerami Grant move the needle? And would he make this team that much better? I think he'd improve the Lakers' defensive potential because he does have a long reach and a great wingspan. He's very active and athletic on that end of the floor. Offensively, though, is his fit a little bit clunky, and would it clash with a guy like LeBron or Anthony Davis? Those are the questions that Rob Pelinka and LeBron and ownership would have to kind of seek to respond to if they did want to trade for Jerami Grant. I don't know if I would do it, but what would you do? Would you pull the trigger on a trade for JG? Type T for trade in the comment section, P for pass. You let me know and sound off in the comment section right now. Hey, Lakers Report, it continues to hum. We're pumping out multiple videos a week covering the latest Lakers news, Lakers rumors, and when there's anything bubbling on the trade front, we got you covered. Nobody else does it better. That's why we're approaching 40,000 subscribers. You want to be a part of the Laker Nation family here at Chat Sports? Join the party, join the fam. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Lastly, Talen Horton-Tucker did enter COVID-19 protocols. The Lakers did have to cancel practice here on Tuesday because of that, and he did test positive. Jordan Schultz reporting that the Lakers may be fielding some calls, kind of putting out some feelers out there with THT, one of the only young players on this roster. This one coming from Jordan Schultz. He does a podcast with CJ McCollum, has some decent sources across the NFL and the NBA. He did say this, though. THT has become a trade target of as many as 7 teams across the NBA. It will take, quote, a lot to get him, though, I'm told. Lakers who really value THT are hesitant. He just turned 21 and is averaging a career best 11 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 3 assists as well. Now, he does have bird rights in his contract, so if a THT trade were to happen, he could not be dealt until January 15th. That's when he's eligible to be traded to another team. A lot of these players who signed deals in NBA free agency are eligible to be traded starting on Wednesday, December 15th. That's when 65% of the league is eligible to get traded up to 85% just because of those guys who signed those deals. But for THT, it is January 15th. And I thought this was really funny. Kyle Kuzma had quote tweeted that report about THT possibly getting dealt, saying, quote, "Here y'all go again." And I'm not sure if he was saying that because these trade rumors are starting to happen and he's not buying stock into that. I mean, it's funny, Kyle Kuzma, because you were involved in trade discussions last year and what happened this offseason because you couldn't take the pressure of Los Angeles. You couldn't take the pressure of playing alongside LeBron James in the bright lights. You got traded this offseason. So if we're talking about here y'all go again, I mean, THT could get traded if the Lakers want to upgrade that roster because LeBron James is turning 37 years old this month, and if they think that trading away THT can help them compete for a championship, I guarantee you they're going to have those conversations. Here's the problem with LA. THT is one of the only, and I mean only, trade assets that the Lakers have and other teams are actually interested in. THT, Kendrick Nunn, Anthony Davis, really the only trio of players on this Lakers roster who other teams are actually interested in, and it's easy to see why teams might be invested in a partnership with Talen Horton-Tucker. He's a pretty solid player, and as we talked about earlier, he's a pretty young player too, and I still think he has some potential. 11.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds this year, and he kind of gives you a bunch of everything offensively and defensively. I've always kind of compared him to a mini Draymond Green. I don't want that to be disrespectful to Draymond. He's one of the best defensive players ever and is the ultimate glue guy for the Warriors. Maybe even that's disrespectful, but I think those are just facts. But Talen Horton-Tucker does remind me of a smaller Draymond, who really doesn't do a lot of the same things in terms of impact that Draymond does do on the floor. Predicted for me, THT will end the year on the, I don't know, you fill in the blank. Type L for Lakers, O for other. Once again, chime in the comments section and let me know. And thanks for watching the Lakers Report.